welcome to our True Self Talk right after our True Self session. Yeah, I just started the recording without starting the recording, so I don't want to bore you with the same prelude here. We just went through Connect with Your True Self energy session, and I was talking about how we all have our individual experience. There's a group of co-facilitators, trained energy healers who help me with reading the field, reading out the culmination of all your energies, and I go through each and every one of you. So if you would like to inquire about maybe the deeper meaning of what it was that came forward for you, then you can text here during the live chat or text in our forum that will have the recording for this session, and you can then just wait for a reply. So those of you who come to the live session get a direct response. And I would like to begin the reflection of our session here with sort of pointing you at some of the energetic aspects that we look at to diagnose where the energies are going, what is going on, and we use the chakra system to navigate this. This is something that we use among other tools to identify where blockages are, where the energy flow is not connecting with our true self, where we want to feel ourselves in our essence. This can sometimes be clouded. And this session guided out with basically just energies flowing all over the place, flying around, almost a little frazzled. It was a bit overwhelming in the beginning. There was immediate sort of resistance there, mostly all around our head, our neck. It made it kind of hard to tune in. Really not easy to connect until right around the halfway mark of the session. So right around the 30-minute mark, something shifted in our energies. And by the way, co-facilitators, please feel free to add or to just barge in. You have control over your microphones at any time. And it was a little difficult to really locate what it was that was disturbed or that was not in flow. And it came to us because when we analyzed what we were seeing, there was a response of your energies to that. And the first thing I noticed was that whenever we went into a place of understanding, accepting, being okay with, like things not being ideal, that your energy expanded. Every time we try to analyze it, we try to come up with, like what could help or how this could be, perhaps fixed or how this could be improved, because, striving for the higher expression is, after all, part of our nature. It's what this whole universe is based on, this evolutionary impulse in us. And we realize that in times like this, where it's really, really difficult to know what to trust in, that when we use the resonance, the vibratory resonance of trust, that we can't really get anywhere with this because we've almost lost the ability to know and to discern what is trustworthy. In fact, it felt like many of you are not even trusting yourself anymore. Did anyone have an experience like that? Did anyone feel like it's really difficult to not just to tune in? I mean, when you're not that experienced, you think there's something wrong with you or with your perception, and you think you're doing something wrong, or you go back to the instructions and question that. But did anyone have something like a feeling that it's really hard for you to tell, to discern maybe the difference between your ego telling you stuff and your true self wanting to signal anything to you. Do you guys, are you guys familiar with this conflict? Yeah, who's ever had that, where you have some, maybe it's at an impulse or an idea or something that wants to come in, but you're not trusting it because you're thinking that maybe it's all just your ego saying that? You can type here in the chat. You can, yes, yeah, okay. So you're familiar with this. Yeah, so really when this occurs, which of course, with life experience and with maturity, we do learn what to trust in and what not to trust in, and perhaps what we need to trust more in. Yeah, there was a whole two-part workshop that I did with the self-healing community here that I highly recommend to you guys. It's on my YouTube channel. I will put the recordings into the email with the recording for this true self-talk. So trust is a combination. That's a combination of inner connection. So, first locating, sort of what we want to use as calibration, what we want to use as signal for knowing when something is true to us, for knowing when we can trust something. And that's typically for most people. Here in the heart region, it is often something tactile, something that you feel in your body. If you train, if you do energy awareness, for example, you can become more aware of the nuances and also other channels which your system uses to receive and also send information. And this can help. Yeah, you can refine your roadmap that way. Yeah, if you train your own system, your body, your emotions, your thought processes, and also some of the energetic sensitivity that you have to pick up on things a little more clearer, I want to say. Yeah, so that's the reason why you see so much of energy balancing, energy clearing, energy reading, and chakra balancing, and all that everywhere, because this is a way for us to get to know ourselves better. It is a way to identify energetic imbalances within ourselves. Yeah, this is why this is such a big topic, and that's why, for example, my whole body of work is really about helping people to get to know themselves better and become able to read themselves and become able to heal themselves, and not just healing as in sort of mending what is broken, but also in regards to finding the higher expression. So there are some aspects that we need for this, and you will see this here. I don't know if you can read this within the chakra charts. You can see that obviously a fundamental trust. Yeah, it's the trust in life. I want to say the trust that you hear this. Sounds a bit weird when I say this, but sometimes when someone has experienced a lot of trauma, there can indeed be a lack of trust in life. Yeah, and sometimes for those of you who are energetically sensitive, who pick up on etheric stuff, or who are very spiritual, this can actually express in, well, not really wanting to be here in 3D, yeah, rather wanting to be in some kind of spiritual world, yeah, in which the body is not, the primary carrier, so to speak, yeah, where you're free of your body. This can also happen when a person has a lot of physical ailments, yeah, that there is this notion that life is hard and it's experienced through pain. Now this can become a very narrow path. So if we buy into this, yeah, like as in our belief system, whatever it is that we're struggling with here in 3D, be it finances, be it physical pain, be it addictions, be it issues around relationships, yeah, this can affect a lot of our, other systems here or other energy centers and have, ramifications. For example, if we don't really have a good foundation, which in energy lingo is the first chakra, the root chakra. Yeah, that's the part sort of that, it's where we put the stake in. Okay, and say, this is me, I'm here. It's very fundamental, very rudimentary, but it's something where we almost like agree to being here. Yeah, if that is not there, it's very difficult to tune into all the the complexities of life. And with me breaking it down for you, I don't want to bore you with chakra training here, because we do this in programs and also in the Sacred Self-Healing program. But the complexity of how we experience ourselves needs to be broken down a little bit. It's easier for us to maybe divide this up into 7 categories here, to 7 physical chakras. When you tune into your inner energetic sensitivity, you will find that there are more fields that we are exposed to and that we're dealing with, and there's different kinds of energy centers. So don't be too linear in your thinking now. Yeah, but basically dividing things up into 7 categories is typically better than just seeing it in 2 categories, namely good or bad, or worse even, like one category, it's either good or, not worth living for. So long story short, the main issues that we identified here during this session were actually not in the first chakra, but there were some of you who had, very strong first chakra aspects that played into this. So some of you did have issues in your, like basic, in your choice, wanting to be here. And this can be difficult, guys, because when you're not fully agreeing to being here, it's very difficult for you to trust in any of these other areas here. Yeah. However, as a total, yeah, like we had, I think 72 participants in this session. Okay, the theme that was running through the session had to do with our fourth chakra. This is nothing new. We have this pretty much in every session, and it's the reason why I've been doing this for more than 11 years now, because we all need more heart connection. Yeah. But here also in the fifth chakra, so fifth and sixth chakra, these two, the fifth and the sixth chakra, have a lot to do with the ability to discern truth. They play into our communication, they play into our expression, but also in our ability, yeah, to recognize truth. And if there is too much overlay, yeah, which we felt, it was very strong here, upper left side, this has a lot to do with collective energies, with how we see ourselves from the outside through the eyes of others, and what is considered to be right or wrong. Yeah, but in an externalized way. Yeah, then that can impede and block our sixth chakra, our third eye. That can give us a vision, and that can give us clarity. And when this comes together, yeah, this is, really relevant in our times right now, where we're dealing with the media wars and all kinds of mind control and propaganda and misinformation. Then there can be a fear that can be triggered in us, and this is the interesting part that makes us not want to be here. So to summarize this, some of you had already, this fear or this, not really wanting to be here, not really accepting your 3D, incarnation or reality, as the one that you need to deal with. Or, having been traumatized so much that all you can see is having to deal with this 3D reality, or vice versa. Yeah, so I want you to recognize that there is a little bit of a circle going on here. Yeah, and that, energies aren't just linear. So, the main blockages that we found were in the fourth and the fifth chakra, right here. And there is an energy technique that I've showed in many of my videos before. It's called thymus tapping. Yeah, it's right here where your thymus is located, and this one has a lot to do with discernment. Yeah, so guys, if you ever want to kind of reset your perception, reset the way you express yourself, yeah, be it in a public speaking situation or a test situation, or when you have a difficult conversation with someone, when you try to do conflict resolution, then use, gentle thymus tapping. Your thymus is located right here, right below the jugular notch there. Some of you can feel this, yeah, and it extends out here. There's a lot of energy work, also body work that can be done to help with removing blockages in this area. The fastest way I found when you're in the middle of talking to someone is to just gently tap here. Yeah, so that's a bit of a reset there. It can help you to find maybe a better way of saying things, yeah, or becoming a little more clear in your expression, or becoming a little more clear in your perception. So the deeper energetic aspect of this session, yeah, was about trusting. Well, we've already talked a little bit about this. Discernment, which is the function in us, yeah, that helps us to know what is true for us, what isn't, and of course, what is mine, what isn't mine. That's part of discernment. And acceptance. So here is where some of the collective energies come in, and I want to just real quick talk about the new moon energies that we are experiencing right now. It's like a fresh start. It's very, very strong. I want you guys to really enjoy this tonight and tomorrow. Yeah, this 48-hour period where it's really about starting a new chapter, starting a new story in your life, really being willing to put all that was before away. It is a burden if you carry your old narratives, your old stories, or even those of others around with you. I felt this very, very strongly. Yeah, there's a strong energetic burden on your system that leads to this kind of blockage here or resistance. Yeah. And when you hear yourself or other people, say things such as, yeah, but, okay, that is what this is. Okay, yeah, but means there's a part of it that you're recognizing, but you're not fully trusting it, and you're not perhaps willing to let go of the narrative or of the mindset that is behind that. So this needs attention here, and right now is a really good time for this because these collective energies go to my forecast for January and the whole year on my YouTube channel, where I go into detail of this. We are indeed at this sort of shift change place. We're moving into a really strong correction phase now. Yeah, where the sorry for that, where the old needs to go. It needs to go. If we hang on to the old, other than, and this is the only good part about the old, learning from the past. Yeah, but anything that we carry over is going to make it harder for us to accept the new, to accept that some things are perhaps too broken to be worth fixing. And right here, guys, that's where it gets a little tricky with us. So around the 40th minute of the session, that was one of the main aspects that came forward. It's the fear of the unknown. Is this, like everything immediately sort of going back into this original loop. Yeah, but, oh, yeah, what if? So the picture that came forward here for us during this session. This is a question I asked the co-facilitators. When I ask the co-facilitators questions, what it does is them changing their own perspective, starting to think about new ways, new solutions. It helps the whole entire field to recode because they were sitting at the corners of this space, of this room, this transmission field that we are creating or that we have created, that we fill up with these healing resonances that are supposed to help you to, to connect with your true self more. And when they start shifting their perspective, it begins to shift the energy in a room. It's almost like when you switch the song, like you're playing music and you switch the song. You guys know what I mean? Yeah, then it immediately sort of shifts the energy for everybody. And that was around the minute 40, where there was this fear of the renewal, the fear of the correction, the fear of change that overtook. Yeah, and that's the tricky part here for all of us, because many of us already know that the old cannot be sustained. But because we don't really have a clear vision of the future yet, yeah, we're coming to this conclusion that managing the broken stuff, yeah, the toxic stuff, coping with it, yeah, is easier to handle than just letting it go and start something new. And this is what we now need to overcome, guys. Yeah, this is the main theme for all of you, each of you in slight different variations. Yes, Jared, thank you for chiming in. You can also turn your mics on, guys, and say this into the microphone. And in this awareness making, yeah, that there is something that is holding you back, and that it is most likely, yeah, the fear of the pain of the past, yeah, that's always linked to a trauma, yeah. You're afraid of that repeating, or the fear of the unknown future. These are those two main energies that work against our trust, that work against our confidence and our courage to embrace the new. So for those of you who are a little familiar with those metaphysical concepts of renewal and correction, it is something that I identified as a Kali energy. This is the dark side of feminine energies. Yeah, it's not dark per se. It is more the resolute, the strict part. It's like to me, it always looks like a really strict mother. Yeah, and I'm a mother, so I know what that feels like. Where this impulse comes in to say, okay, guys, enough is enough. All right, that's it. I'm no longer tolerating this. This needs to go. Yeah, or we need to start over, or this isn't worth fixing, or our conversation is just keep looping around the same things. That's it. Yeah, I rather face the fear of the unknown. I rather face change than staying in this hamster wheel. I think you called this, Aneta, the hamster wheel, of just, looping and looping in the same things, trying, fixating on, how to manage things, yeah, and trying to fix or trying to cope with what is in actuality too broken for us. We don't actually want it anymore. One of the visuals that came up to encourage all of you, and I don't know, maybe the one or the other picked up on this, is the state that the caterpillar is in. The caterpillar that turns into a butterfly, when it slowly basically disintegrates, yeah, and begins to morph into this chrysalis. It's a dying process, if you want to accept it for what it is. The identity of the caterpillar is dying. Yeah, and there's no way of fixing it. There's no way of stopping that, because that the nature of evolution is so strong that it forces the caterpillar at some point to turn into this chrysalis. But the question I asked, and this is where I see all of us, does the caterpillar know that this dying process is actually an evolutionary step into a butterfly? Does the caterpillar know what comes after the letting go, after the dying, after the correction? Janet is asking here in the chat, What things are so broken and must be let go of? Well, that's a really good question. What do you guys think? What is coming up for you with this question? What things are so broken and must be let go of? Yeah, so I hope that this is not a topic that makes you feel hopeless or, the world's going to go under. But if none of you are going to answer this or have a thought about this, then, I will, lay this out for you as I do this in my energy forecasts. Yeah, there is a system that we are in, and this is a bigger system, so it's quite collective in nature. Yeah, that has gone on for, roughly 20 years. So 20 years ago, I started writing my first articles, about this collective clearing process and global shadow and stuff like that, and what that means for us. Yeah, it means that there is an sort of an evolutionary impulse that is coming in, a download, okay, that forces us to grow into a higher consciousness level. And every time this happens, yeah, this is a bit, uh, sometimes it's hard to see, yeah, like that's why I brought in the picture with the caterpillar and the butterfly. Yeah, every time this happens, it first feels like a grieving. It first feels like something is being taken away from us. It feels like a loss. It feels like, oh, the good old days, and there's a resistance in us not wanting to let go, yeah, of the old, because the old is so familiar. It is our comfort zone. But the problem with the comfort zone, as you already know, is that growth can only take place outside of the comfort zone, outside of this box of comfort. So, to answer your question, Janet, I don't think that comfort needs to go. On the contrary, one of my big recommendations for all of you who struggle with managing certain aspects of your 3D, yeah, especially for this year, is to focus on the things that make life easier for you, that make life more sustainable, that bring in a longevity, not necessarily things that are too risky, okay, because the outer conditions of our world right now are such that there will be a lot of changes in our financial system, in our political systems. In fact, our political systems are changing already. Yeah, so what happened here a few days ago with the New Zealand Premier Minister, yeah, suddenly resigning. Those kind of things, guys, we're going to see this now everywhere. There is a massive shift going on in the power structure, in the distribution of wealth, distribution of resources, and this will also, of course, affect us. Not all negatively here. There's no reason for us to be afraid of that. But what can I tell you? If you have set your mind onto what's in the box, all right, then me talking about the opportunities and the growth and the higher expression that is possible through that, yeah, and why I am so positive and hopeful about the future doesn't really do you service. So right now I'm understanding that looking outside the box, seeing that there is a huge potential here ahead of us with, all of us collectively going through this increase in consciousness, which will ultimately lead to us learning how to discern truth. This is a massive, massive evolutionary step. Yeah, this has not happened, in 2,000 years, that we actually get a step closer to knowing truth from falsehood. This is amazing. Yeah. So for me, as a teacher, as someone who trains this to people, it was so painstaking, over the last 20 years, yeah, to show people that, what it is that they perceive as their comfort zone may as well just be like an illusionary safety, yeah, or something that is not really helping them to grow. And that is something that we will all recognize now, yeah, that there's growth ahead. And yes, it means that we have to change. But, if you're asking me what needs to change, well, really, um, it's the perspective. Because with the perspective, you change your way of thinking, you change your way of perceiving. Yeah. And for many of you who have been attracted to my work, you have been around for that long with this impulse to grow and to work on your perception. But you still haven't really found this peace in you, okay, that is unchanging. Yeah, that can inform you about what is true and what isn't. Yeah, we call this discernment. What helps you to understand, that a person or place or a job or, a relationship or whatever it is that you're about to embark on, yeah, even a business, especially a business, yeah, maybe potential business partners or potential investors, whether they're integrous or not. And integrity, guys, is not relative. Integrity is absolute, just like truth. So in order for us to feel integrity, yeah, first of course, we need to work this within ourselves. We need to know how our own integrity feels like, yeah, and when we are congruent with that and when we're not. But for us being able to discern truth on the outside, we need to know what this absolute truth in us feels like. And this is what the purpose of these true self sessions is, that we begin to know when we have to act, when we have to end something, when we have to start something new, when we should listen to this impulse to like change something. Yeah, whatever it is in your personal life, it can be very different for each and every one of us. But the overall development here is a higher expression, is a higher evolutionary state for us. And if you feel like you need to ask, well, how long is this going to take? If you watch the forecast, I will explain, on this 3D level here, on this collective level, how long this is going to take. For us personally, in our personal transformation journey, there were quite a few of you who have done a lot of this inner self-transformation work already, who are now getting this sort of, like, let's go. This is the time. There's many of you who are willing to accept truth as is and to go into this self-corrective step now, which is the beginning of a new future for you, and very prosperous, if I might add, because what you have been able to do is to shed, is to let go of all the untruths in your life, be it relationships, be it friendships, jobs, or entire careers, yeah, and beginning to use your heart, okay, to feel truth. Last month we talked about how truth feels like. It's a really good recording, by the way, the True Self Talk from last month, from December 22. Here now it's more about the application. Yeah, it's important for you to apply and be like a strict mom. Yeah, even if you're male, we all had moms, okay, and we all know what that face looks like when mom or a teacher had enough. Okay, so that is the energy here coming these next weeks, that you will need to step into a higher expression, to step into a less burdened future with yourself, yeah, that is more congruent, more authentic. Yeah, Jared is commenting here, and I love this. This is like one of my favorites that I have heard from you guys. When we think of the good old days, right? And we really feel into this. They weren't really that good, were they? Or someone else once said, the comfort zone isn't really all that comfy, is it? So, the main message that I want to transport to all of you here as a group is that there is a lot more to come, and that, these transformation processes that we're going through, yes, they scare the heck out of our ego, guys. Yeah. But I tell you what, holding on to the old will make it harder for you now than trusting in the new. And new, not necessarily just anything that comes along. So just because it's new doesn't mean it's better. Okay. That's what you need discernment for. Yeah. What it is that you need to work on now in order to make sure that the path that you're setting, yourself on goes into the new direction and not the back to the old and creating back this loop, okay, this repeat, this karmic repeat. What you need to do is to pay more attention, yeah, and discern more. I mean, there's a whole sort of workshop series from last year in our Sacred Self Healing community about how to command your thinking, how to make sure that you even think freely. Yeah, 80% of the thoughts that you have in your head, they're not even your own. They're like repeats, they're tapes that are playing. Then how to command your emotions. Yeah, how to work with your body and your emotions that, after all, determine, according to stats, 67% of all your choices. And with that, also your body. It's really important that you get a hang out of your body, like how to work with it on a nutrient level, on an exercise level, on a self-care level, enough sleep and all these kind of things. And then next is how to command your choices. Yeah, how to make sure that what it actually is that you are thinking and that you're feeling, yeah, can be put into action. That's what we call self-mastery. And self-mastery, guys, is fundamentally the direction here, this new direction that we're all developing into. We're developing into a higher level of self-mastery. Tammy is texting here. For me, there was an eagerness and an excitement for a new personal venture, but also the doubt about whether I'm rushing into something new too soon. Without a plan to achieve or sort of, the sort of success for my own validation of self. That's exactly, Kemi, what it is that I'm talking about. But feeling somewhat proud, wanting to make a new step. This is wonderful. You just really nailed it, okay? That is what you need to focus on. There is a possibility that, if you rush in things too strongly, too fast, too, sort of hyper excited, okay, that you miss some of the clues there. So a simple thing to do when you're willing to start something new and this impulse is already coming for you is to just force yourself to slow down a bit. Just slow down. Because as you are slowing down, it's a lot easier for you to feel things. Now, when it comes to having a plan, here I want to say something that I said in the forecast for January and the 2023 altogether. It will be very difficult for all of us to, write up a plan and then stick to the plan because there are too many outer changes now coming in. So all we can do, and this is exactly what we felt, Kemi, it felt overwhelming. And there was this mixture of excitement and fear. Okay, this is very invigorating. It's a really, really cool energy that you tapped in there. Okay, all you really need to know is the next step, the first step. Hone in on to the next step and keep your mind and your heart open because, we are entering a corrective phase here for the next 5 months, which means there is a lot of things that are, perhaps might not even be there anymore in 2 or 3 months from now. Okay, without sounding too mysterious here, but we got to be willing to let things go. Yeah. So that's what it means with an open heart, with an open mind. Don't make yourself depend on something too much. Yeah. and always feel into it. Let me read your protocol here for you, Cami, because I did, keep individual protocols for you as well. Yeah, so this is cool. So the main resonance that can help you really tune into what I just said is a form of gratitude and appreciation. When you said pride or proud, you feel proud of embracing the new. This is wonderful. Okay, so with the plan that is not there, which don't worry about this, you don't need that. You just need the next step. Also, be grateful. Send this out into the universe, Kimmy. Yeah, that you are happy about, that you appreciate that what you have, that you're already getting in, and that it's okay to not know more. Yeah, so that is something that we can do as energetically interested sensitives, energy workers, is to work with a resonance that really helps us to expand. Gratitude, I've said this many times, is a very, very expansive energy that, if you have, lost everything and whatever, it's better to tune into the gratitude for the little that you have left than to mourn or to grieve too much about what was lost or frantically trying to fix what is broken. Yeah, so from an energetic point of view, you're opening up your manifestation field through gratitude, through appreciation, and perhaps also, this didn't come forward for you that much, but a lot of other people here in this session. The appreciation, how far we have come, and, that there is this, continual growth. There is this continual betterment, that for as long as you stay on it with yourself, to always strive for the higher expression and for the better way and learn as you go. Even the things that are seemingly mistakes or failures become part of your wisdom, become part of your power. So gratitude and appreciation often, if not all the time, needs to be applied to all the mistakes that we've made, to all the failures that we have experienced, recognizing that each and every learning experience, the good and the bad, are experiences that will help us to find our higher expression. So I hope you take this as a good message, Cami. It's a good place you're in right now. Yeah. I don't know what it is that you're doing, or that you want to do now as a new project. Yes, that's the way to go. One step at a time. So this was a beautiful example here that allowed us to tune into this, and also why I'm so optimistic about things here, because I already know what is possible for people when they learn how to discern truth. Now, I have to wrap things up here. Just a quick question, Aneta, Jared, did you guys want to add anything, comment on anything, before we let everybody go? Just in case I missed something, or you feel like something else needs to come in.
Just on the trust aspect, Jona, just to reinforce what you said, because I'm in that process at the moment where I'm going through massive changes, and trusting in that inner discernment and that inner compass that we have is just so important and so key as we move forwards.
Yeah, and you don't need to know everything yet, because quite frankly, it's impossible for all of us to know what's next. Impossible. Yes. There's too many changes. Transformation is everywhere right now, in all areas of our lives. Yeah, so we're a bit forced to trust now. Yeah, but if you do this, and I would strongly recommend that you use this, either the invocation here that came with your instructions, or the 5-minute alignment where I say the invocation, or any of the alignments that you can find on my SoundCloud, or any other alignments that work for you, or mantras or whatever, to really allocate this time, to form a proper routine that includes you taking the time to slow down and to feel into your whole, as a whole, whether something feels right, feels true. And if you really can't find an answer, then let go of everything. Surrender to what? To your higher power. Okay? Serenity. Yeah, if you cannot control it, right, stop trying to control it, because you won't be able to. You're going to burn yourself out in the process. And, call in the higher pay grade, okay, and say, and this is the hard part for our ego, I accept that I cannot control this. I accept that I have no solution. I accept that maybe the way I'm seeing this is too narrow, too limited. What do you say? Higher power. Yeah, and you wait until you get this impulse. So everyone who has experienced this, who knows what it means to turn to higher power, yeah, for guidance, okay, knows that this works. Yeah, if you're more on the religious side of things, prayer. But it's really about allocating this time. So if you so confused that you really don't know what to believe in, guys, then it's always the best to stop what you're doing, okay? Or slow it down all the way to a place of not doing it anymore, okay? And taking the time it takes. This came in for a lot of you guys, patience. Taking the time it takes, all right, to figure out what the next step is through feeling in your heart. Those of you who want, thank you, Jared, really cool impulse. Those of you who want to go a little deeper and work energies, and maybe want to learn how to blast open their third eye vision and tap into the future a little more, tonight at 11 p.m., I'm using those fantastic new moon energies, that open the veil here for us to tap into the future with you in the future self energy session, at 11 p.m. Eastern US time. That's 11 p.m. Florida time. So if you're in Europe, that's anywhere between 5 or 4 a.m. If you're in Australia, depending on where in Australia, it could be 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. All right, so you need to use a time converter there. So go to my website to see those sessions and to sign up for them. That's where we work this. That's where we begin to actively working with it, not just asking for guidance, but also really work with the guidance. Thank you everyone so much for coming. Thank you, Charlize, Jared, and Aneta, to co-facilitating the session with me. Thank you all for sharing and for asking questions. Again, in the forum, in the transCODES forum, you'll find a thread just for the session. You can ask questions there. One of us will respond. Or you can always come to the Sacred Self-Healing thread that we have in Skype, where we do all the live meets, the energy talks every Wednesday on 12 p.m. Mid-noon. I'm doing an energy talk live. You can ask questions there as well. Thank you so much. Have a good new moon.
Thank you, Jona. Bye-bye.
And thanks, Linda, for making me press the record button. I'm really thankful for this. All right.